Hello and welcome. Come along with me as I do an end of summer little free library tour. So in this little free library, you have your standard fare of Mary Higgins Clark, Nora Roberts. I did find this Miss Marple, which is an Agatha Christie book, that I'm kind of picky about what the covers look like. And it feels like there is a copy of The Help in every single little free library. I grabbed this Patricia Wentworth novel. It is called Nothing Venture. She is most well known for the Miss Maud Silver detective series. She wrote in the 30s. She was part of that, I think, golden age of mysteries. And I have never read anything by her, and so I was excited to find this. So in this, we follow Jervis Ware. Jervis, his uncle has died. He has bequeathed his property and land holdings to Jervis with the condition that Jervis needs to get married within a certain period of time. Well, 2 days before he is supposed to marry his fiancée, Rosamond, his fiancée jilts him and leaves him. And so he has 2 days to get married within the time period of this will. And his lawyer, I think, suggests the lawyer's secretary. Jervis doesn't, I don't think, really know her, but he wants to get the money and his property. And so he is considering marrying her. I think she, as she's getting to know him better as a detective, realizes that he is a target. And so hijinks ensue. I'm just excited to read another female author during this golden age of mysteries, a peer of Agatha Christie and Dorothy Sayers. So I grabbed this. I love the 1990s sort of mass paperback cover style. And then, as always, I like to leave a book if I take a book. And so I left these cute kids novels and then an extra version of Love in the Time of Cholera that I found on my shelf. Don't worry, I still have another copy at home. As we approach the end of summer, I do not feel remorse or nostalgic at all. I wander through the gardens that are near the little free libraries that I tour, and I admire the wildflowers. I love the activities of summer, but I am at heart an autumn girl. I strive to live in the present, and so I am relishing in summer, but just know that I always have an eye towards autumn and the beauty that season brings. I love the setting for the next little free library so much. I found this Incident at Hawks Hill by Alan Eckery. We have that book at home, but I love that old cover and the tint on the pages. I also love any book illustrated by Mari Sendak, but my kids are growing out of the age for those books. And then this War with Grandpa, I love those 1980s paperback books. We never read the Princess of Black series, but I do love Shannon Hale. I just think those are a little bit too young. I loved this beautiful Debbie Macomber book with the roses on the cover, and I also really like the cover of this Barbara Delinsky book as well. NightHunt by Alexandra Christo looked intriguing, and I also cannot resist a gold foil. Since I already have books to trade, it really isn't a big commitment with a little free library to grab this. So in this we follow Atia and Silas. I believe this is a young adult novel. Silas does not remember who he was. He's actually not really a human at this point. He is transporting dead bodies from Earth, I think, down into Hades, because in this we have the gods. I don't know if they're exactly the same as Greek or Roman gods, but it's the same, I think, similar concept. He doesn't remember who he was, and he misses that. And so he meets Atia. Atia makes a bad decision and goes against the laws that these gods have set forth. And so they send monsters after her. And she for all intents and purposes, is supposed to be a deceased body that Silas then carries into the underworld. I think it's the underworld. But he makes a deal with her that he will prevent her from going to the underworld and will help to save her if she helps him to regain his humanity and at least find out who he was. I will save this. I'm not sure when I will read it, but I will put it on my TBR, and the next time I'm in the mood for a young adult fantasy novel, I might grab this. Next, I grabbed this, you know, possibly cultural appropriation of the Irish cozy murder. This is Murder at the Blarney Bash. It has like a Newfoundland dog with a leprechaun hat and like all of these St. Patrick's Day paraphernalia. But I have gotten a little bit more into cozy mysteries. I'm not overly fond of the cutesy covers, but it was free and I thought maybe next March I could just pick this up and see if I like it. Look, you guys, there's another copy of The Help. Have you ever read a V.C. Andrews book? I'm starting to find more of them in little free libraries these days. I have Leo the Lop. These are the Serendipity books from the 70s. I think they redid them also in the 80s as well. This one's actually from 1981. But if you have little ones, these are really great little stories. They have adorable pictures. They were written by a husband and wife team, I think. And they just have these little like morals to each of the stories. And we actually have quite the collection. So when I saw Leo the Lop in this paperback 1981 format, I grabbed it. Okay, so here's what I chose to leave in this little free library, which was the Poisonwood Bible, because I have a hardback of that, and then Kate DiCamillo's The Magician's Elephant, as well as the Egypt Game, which is a Newbery winning book. And then the next location for this little free library was my favorite location. It had a little walkway, it had a little flower bed around it, a flag. I loved the paint on it. It just felt very enchanted. It was in the woods at this property, and it just was chock full of so many great book options. I grabbed How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I also have The Midnight Library, which I have not yet read, but I loved the plot of this. I also think the cover is just really pretty. And so in this, we follow Tom Hazard. He has some sort of condition. I don't know if it's medical or what, but he doesn't die. He can just live for centuries. And there is a society of people who protect others like him. And one of the rules of the society is that you are not allowed to fall in love. And I believe in this book, he does. I also really love kind of the Peter Pan nods here. So I don't know if there's a little bit of the Peter Pan retelling in here. I'm not sure. But it very much reminded me of that. And honestly, I will probably put this to the top of the TBR and read this before I would read The Midnight Library. Next, I have The Dress Lodger by Sherry Holman. In this, we follow Gustine, and she is a woman of the night. And she actually rents dresses to be able to attract a higher clientele. She manages to develop another professional relationship with a doctor where she is collecting cadavers. This is during a cholera epidemic in England in the 1830s. So I love historical fiction. This time period I think would be kind of interesting. Sort of reminds me of Enola Holmes a little bit. So anyway, I grabbed it, and next time I'm in the mood for a historical fiction, I might just be grabbing this. So I found this, the first book of the Gideon Trilogy by Linda Buckley Archer. This is called The Time Travelers. And so in this we follow Peter and Kate, and they somehow came across a time machine. They end up landing in 1763, and their time machine gets stolen. And so they can't return from whence they came. And it's a pretty thick middle grade book. It says on the cover, for kids who love Harry Potter. I feel like any fantasy middle grade right now or during when this was published says that. I don't get the feeling that it actually is a, we're not in like a magical school with wizards, but it was written in 2006, which I think was right around the time that Harry Potter was so popular. So part of the reason why I grabbed this is because book 2 and book 3 were also in this little free library. It was a lovely little free library. And so I just grabbed them. I thought the way they look on the shelf would be nice. I love these little design elements. I just love the font. I don't know. It looked like fun, and so I grabbed it. Next is book 2 in the Fablehaven series. This is called The Rise of the Evening Star. So we have the first book, and I found the second one, the third one, and the fourth one all in the same series because they've been published multiple times, and so sometimes your series don't match, but these match with our original first copy, and so I figured we could get them from the library, but again, because it's a free trade, and this way we won't be worried about the due date of them, and it's just a really fun series that my kids love, so I just grabbed the next books in that series. And for the unhaul, I did A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote, this Clara Barton homeschool book, Little Fires Everywhere. I unhauled Hoot. We've all read it and loved it. And I also unhauled Fairest by Gail Carson Levine. I unhauled The Grace of Wild Things because I had an extra copy of that one, as well as unhauling this Hollow Earth. So I was sure to really pack this little free library back up. I love an end of summer rainstorm. It just really gives me those fall vibes. This little free library was chock full of books. There were double layers back behind the front layer of books. There were so many to wade through. Okay, lastly, I found these 2 books in the Pennyroyal Academy. I have number 2 and number 3, I believe. And I actually have the first book in this series, which is the Pennyroyal Academy. Yeah, so this is number 3. But I haven't read it yet. It's been on my TBR for a really long time. So hopefully this will be the impetus I need to get started on it, because I think it's actually a pretty cute series. This really should say for fans of Harry Potter, because Pennyroyal Academy is actually a school. There is magic, I believe, in this world. It comes with a map, which is really great. It is sort of like you can tell on the cover. Yeah, it's a medieval castle type of a school. We follow Evie, who has been sent to this school. She has a lot to uncover about herself and about her heritage. And one of the things that I think is cute is, well, first of all, I love the cover. The cover is really lovely. And this one involves Rumpelstiltskin, so I think we're doing a little bit of like fairy tale inspired stories. There's also a place at the academy that is named after the Pied Piper. So that I love. Again, I do love a middle grade series, and this is one that I really need to get started on.
Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.